How unique is it that they both came kind of like 2 years apart in the early part of the decade? Have you ever seen anything like that? Teammates that have stayed together that long of a period and have had that kind of a success?
I have not. In the NFL today, I think they purposely set it up so where you don't have that, and it's a very unique thing, and Howie's done a great job to keep those two, to draft both of those guys, and they've obviously played at a very high level for a long time and keep them Eagles, and I'm glad they're both Eagles.
John, with a player like Hassan Reddick, how do you balance the maybe desire to have him drop back since he's done it versus just having him go after the quarterback?
Yeah, good question. That's what I love about camp. We're in the process of figuring those things out with not just Hassan but everybody. So it's a process that we take that, hey, let's kind of see what we like, what we don't. This is what this guy's good at, what he's comfortable at, what we need him to do, what looks good, what doesn't, what we want to add, what we want to throw away. And it's all a process and getting better every day.
A lot of guys, Chakowski Tart, first time we've talked to you since you guys brought him in. What does he kind of add to the defense?
Yeah, good question, John. Good addition by Howie. He's, again, I'm going to sound like a broken record. What I look for in the safety position, he has that. And he's played at a high level in San Francisco. He's smart, tough. He can tackle. He's a great communicator, and looking to see what he can do out there and how he integrates with our scheme and our other players.
What are your expectations for Jordan Davis in terms of being a 1-2 or 3-down player as a rookie?
No expectation for me right now. I like to see him play and practice and see what he can do. It's just like everybody else, how he fits in with the other guys that he's in there with and what he does well. And we got to put him in those situations so he can be successful.
Following up on Hassan, in what situations would it be advantageous for him to drop in the coverage as opposed to just going to the quarterback?
He's a really good cover guy. So sometimes that's a matchup-driven thing, and he knows that when he would be dropping, like all our overhang players, there's a reason why we do that. And flexibility within the defense. It can, depending on what the offense does, that's the kind of spacing we want to play. And it helps his teammates win some one-on-one battles. So, that's a process with all those guys that we're figuring out right now.
JG, there's a lot of whining going on about the short practices.
Whining?
Whether it's the WIP, whether it's the fans. How does a coach get everything in that you need to get in camp?
First of all, let me say this. I don't know any narratives out there, but because I don't really pay attention to that, but I think the head coach's schedule for what he has set up this training camp is phenomenal, and I'm in love with it. And, when we talked about it, hey, here's what we're going to do, it's not just a day-by-day thing. I think, sometimes you can look at, they're all on the field for $1.15. Well, we have, 30 some odd days. You don't see the walkthroughs and the hours of meetings that these guys go through and the film study and the film session. So our guys will be ready to go with this schedule, and I actually think they'll be more ready to go this year.
So you don't feel at the end of this that there's anything, gee, I wish we could have done that at camp?
Not at all.
John, it's interesting that the Nakobe games since they got into and what do you need to see from him this summer as you get towards it?
Everything why we drafted the player, he's that, he's smart, has high football character, he can play multiple positions, and we think he's going to be a playmaker. So, just getting him integrated with our scheme, playing with different people, getting comfortable with what we ask him to do from a communication standpoint and a physical standpoint, and we'll see where it goes.
I feel like with pre-snap disguise, how did you, when you assessed the team last year overall, how did you feel it was, and how much did you feel like you were able to give guys based upon their first year in the scheme, and what kind of emphasis are you placing on that in this game?
Yeah, very good question, Jeff. That's actually, head coach talks to the defense a lot, and hey, Merrill, and that's one of the talks he's going to have with our defense is about disguise and the value of it and the stress that puts on a quarterback. So I think that we got into some things last year that was good. Some things that we have adjusted since, hey, we need to make this look a little more similar to this, so on and so forth. But our guys know the value of that, and that's not just like one or two guys, that's all 11, and really the guys standing on their feet, they all blend together. It's not just one guy. Everyone talks about Harrison Smith in Minnesota, like, wow, he's this ultimate disguise guy. Well, it's because Anthony Barr and Eric Kendricks and Andrew Sendejo make it look like something too. So all those guys fit together. Disguise is everybody on the defense blending in together. It all works. They all work hand in hand. So that's a step that we have to take. That's a really good question, Jeff.
At corner where you have like more guys than reps to go around, how much do you have to think through what that rotation is like in practice, and how tough is it to get a true evaluation on all of those guys?
Yeah, I think over the course, good question, but over the course of camp, there's enough reps to go around. And our guys will get a good evaluation of the type of players that they are, how comfortable they are playing, with each other and on their own too. But they're going to get enough reps where we can say, hey, we feel really good about this and we're comfortable with these guys playing, and looking forward to really the competition with those guys. And that's what I talk to our guys about all the time. Like, we know you're going to make mistakes, but when we run that coverage the next day, let's not make that same mistake, because that's showing improvement. And that's what you're looking for, the entire defense, especially with young guys that haven't played a lot of snaps.
What's the value, without giving any secrets away or percentages, what's the value of having guys who are capable of playing in an odd front or an even front? And what's the challenge of guys who, going back and forth and being that flexible?
Yeah, no secrets here, Ruben. You see what you see is what you're going to get. There's value to be able to play different coverages, different fronts, depending on who you're playing and our matchups. So you're going to see a lot out there. That's by design. That's to say, hey, over the course of training camp, we want to work this for the first week. And then the next week, we want to work this because, we might not need this for the first couple weeks, but then all of a sudden we're going to need it. And we wanted to have it repped and rinsed and see who's comfortable and, what looks good, what doesn't. So, I'm not a big percentage guy, but, we're always going to do. When we set up the game plan, guys, you know how we are. How do we need to win this game and what do we need to do? So, and you don't want to put something new week 4, the first time they've ever run it. So you guys out here are going to see, holy cow, it seems like they're doing a lot, but we're really not. We're playing football. So we're trying to prep our guys for what they're going to need to execute, to win games come the fall.
How do you see Denard Wilson? Follow up on that. Does it take a certain type of guy who can play in an odd front and an even front and go back and forth seamlessly?
Yeah, everybody that we have on our roster right now wearing a white jersey can do that. So that's, Howie did a great job. And I think, again, it comes down to the fabric of our defense. Those guys have high football character. They're unselfish, so they understand when we ask them to do certain things, there's a reason why, and that ultimately is to win the game.
Have you seen Denard Wilson's role changing now that you have the pass game coordinator?
Yeah, excited for Denard. I mean, not much. He's my right-hand man. So, he does a great job with those guys. That's, a hard position to coach because there's 5 or 6 guys on the field, 4, 5, or 6 guys on the field all the time, and they're doing different things. And, he's, obviously we value him as an organization. Myself, I talk with him every day. I think sometimes he gets mad at me. He's like, hey, I got to do some work. Get out of here. Stop talking to me. But, obviously grateful to have Denard.
What did you learn about TJ Edwards now that you've had him for a year that maybe you didn't know about him when he got here as an undrafted?
I think we had a good feel for TJ, and then what you saw is he could take the coaching and he started getting more comfortable and he's making a lot of plays for us. And that's why you saw him kind of take over the defense, kind of the first third part of the year or whatever. And, we expect him to do that this year as well. But as far as, I didn't scout him coming out, but when I got here, you read everything and you talk to different people that looked at him and things like that. And I think that if there were a couple negatives on him, they are not negatives with what we're asking him to do. So actually, they're positive. So, excited to have TJ.
When you look at the veterans you guys added at safety, and Jaquiski and also bringing back Anthony Harris, what does that mean for like a young guy like Kayvon Wallace? He's been in the system for a couple of years, and maybe some of the other guys.
Yeah, that's good question. When you have vets that have played a long time with high football character, those are the guys that you want the young guys to mimic. Now, we've all been around guys that are really good players that really, you could say, I don't know if I would watch what he does all the time. There's not one guy on our defense that's a vet that I wouldn't say, hey, young guy, watch this guy and do what he does because he's going to help you become a better player. So very grateful for the vets that we have on this unit because they help the young guys.
How does that help a guy like Kayvon, for example?
A lot, because if you want to learn football, talk to the players. So we can sit up there and I can tell Kayvon something, but it might not be making sense how I'm saying it. Well, go ask Anthony Harris, and I bet it makes sense because he'll put it in his own words of, hey, this is what the coaches are saying. Here's what you got to see. This is what you should feel. This is what you need to do. You got it? Yeah. So it's always a very valuable thing to have on your defense, smart players that have played a lot, because a lot of times they bridge the gap from coaches to the young players. They're that bridge. And you see what happens is some of those young guys start, all of a sudden their understanding goes up and they start making more plays.
In this spring, you said the reason you were confident in these safeties was because of production. What specifically have you seen from Marcus Epps, whether practice and games, to give you that type of confidence?
I mean, the first thing I look for in a safety is reliability. He's very reliable. He's smart, tough, and he's got a very unique skill set that you need, in my opinion, to play safety in the NFL today. In 2022, the safety position looks different than when I got in the league at 2007. You got to be able to cover. You got to be able to tackle. You got to have ball skills. You got to, play zone. You got to process. That's a thinking position. So, he has all those tools. That's it. All right, guys. Thank you.